All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Monday, April 29th. We have 3 NBA playoff games to dive into in today's video. Like we always do, we're going to go through each and every one of these games. I'll give you my lean on the spread. I'll give you my lean on the total. We'll talk about any player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, all of my final plays, if you do want to roll with me, or if you want to fade me, all those plays are going to be in the pinned comment. In terms of yesterday, we go 2-2-1, that one being Kawhi Leonard. He's now out for an extended period of time, but we had the over in the Knicks Sixers. Kind of sweated it out, but never really looked like it was going to cash. Bobby Portis under 19.5 points gets ejected, so we'll take the plus money cha-ching. Kyrie over 2.5 threes. That happened in the second quarter. And then our other loss was Rudy Gobert over 27.5 points plus rebounds. We had already cashed that a couple times, so it is what it is. But a 2-2-1 night. Nice to see, and kind of a saving grace there, Bobby Portis for the plus 110 cash. And in terms of our ride of the day, Bobby Portis getting ejected helped a lot of people out there if you had his unders. But under 12.5 boards, shout out to Andrew, pumping some crowd noise. Bobby Portis, who was it? With Nemhard, kind of threw a punch and a shove, gets tossed there, guys. If you don't know what the ride of the day is, all you got to use is that hashtag ride of the day. Give me an absolute banger in the comments. I'm jumping on board with one person's pick, giving you a shout out, win or loss. If you win, we continue to ride with your pick. So looking forward to seeing what Andrew cooks up today. We'll monitor that and check back in tomorrow. Got to get that in around 2 p.m. Eastern time, or we have to jump to someone else. So make sure you get your hashtag ride of the days in the comments. But all right, guys, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Game number 1 that we're looking at here is going to be the Boston Celtics taking on the Miami Heat here. So Celtics absolutely dominating game number 3, 104-84. Miami didn't even look interested by the end of the game. You had Tyler Hero throwing a temper tantrum, picking on Peyton Pritchard and Sam Hauser. It's like, oh, you're a big tough guy fighting those guys, right? But that's the Boston bias Celtics fan of me, okay? In terms of this game, I do think 10.5 points is a hell of a lot to lay. But didn't that game number 3 seem like the Celtics were on an absolute mission? I think it did. Like, they just looked like they were like, from start to finish, we're fired up to come back and punch you in the mouth, because the Heat did punch him in the mouth in game number 2. Now, the Heat somehow, and Spoelstra in particular, seem to have the Celtics number to some degree in terms of being able to make these series in which they should look like they should wax them close. So I do think 10.5 points is a little bit too much to lay. I'm not necessarily all that confident in the Celtics side of things. Do I think the Celtics win the game? I do think so. But in terms of what we're looking at from a 10.5 point spread, like, I think Miami is a resilient team. Though they're down Jimmy Butler, though their vibes probably are super low after last game, this is still in Miami. So in terms of a lean, I'd lean Miami plus the 10.5 points. But I'm a Celtics fan, and it's playoff basketball, and at least I'm admitting my bias, right? I don't think I'll be making that a final play, because I'm not about to watch the Celtics and bet against them. In terms of the total, I also like the over in this game. Like, I think yet last game we saw something that was obviously a spot in which it's like, yeah, Miami just didn't show up, but you have to imagine that they come more offensively. And then if the Celtics see Miami starting to score more, the Celtics offense is better, so they should score more too. So I'm going to lean towards the over 203. Maybe it's the low-hanging fruit or a bait or something like that, and it's like I'm touching the boat, because this could be a spot in which we see another game like that if Miami is like, hey, we're ready for vacation type of thing. Because, again, essentially losing this one, then going back to Boston, I feel like you're writing your own little sentence there. So lean towards Miami plus the points. Don't love it, even though I'm, even if I wasn't a Celtics fan, I don't know if we have enough evidence to back that. But I do like the total. And then in terms of player props, let's jump into Outlier here, guys. If you don't know what Outlier is, I'll have a link in the pinned comment. It's my favorite player prop research tool. You get 7 days free with that link. But the first one we're looking at here is going to be Al Horford. So he's been playing 20 plus minutes this series. I'm looking at his over 14.5 points, rebounds, and assists. You can see here, his last 3 games here, he's cashed this, not with ease, but has cashed it. And the reason I'm looking at those minutes is because on the season, when he plays 20 plus minutes, he's covered this in 45 of 60 games, 75% of the time. His last 10, he's done it. So if Horford continues to get the minutes, I do think he's going to continue to produce. Again, and the way that I do that, I filter to minutes. I look at head-to-head here, and we say, okay, these last 3, 25, 23, 22 minutes. If you want to make the argument his minutes are going down, fine. But I don't necessarily think that that's an indicator that they're going to continue to go down. But I like that he's done it all 3 games in the series. And again, we filter to right around 20 minutes or so. He's done this in plenty of games on the season. So play number 1 is going to be Al Horford, over 14.5 PRA. Right now, that's minus 120 on BetMGM. Caesars has it minus 21. Maybe it'll come out to other books as well. Second pick here is going to be Peyton Pritchard. Similar sort of idea here. So on the season, he's done this in 56% of games, right? But in this series here, he's been playing 24, 19, 25 minutes, kind of an average right around, I'd say 22, right? So if we filter to this and go, okay, well, if Pritchard's going to get 22 minutes, let's see what we can cook up here. 22-ish. He's done it in 86% of games on the season. Last 10, he's done it in 9 of his last 10. This game being the one that he didn't. Okay, that's a little damning. But overall, Pritchard's getting more minutes, and this is also a guy that, say the Celtics do go out there and start to like blow out the Heat and stuff, Pritchard's going to eat a lot of those minutes because he's not only a guy that plays when the game matters, but he's definitely a guy that still plays when, they're blowing teams out. So he's almost blowout proof, and we do have a 10.5 point spread to consider here. So give me Pritchard over 2.5 assists. And then the last one, I'd only really play this on FanDuel. You could see DraftKings minus 162, BetMGM minus 175, Caesars minus 169. But for minus 145, Drew Holiday to record one block, I don't mind whatsoever either. He's done it in 15 of his last 20. He did it in 57% of games this year. He's done it in 5 straight, and in 5 straight, and then in 6 straight against Miami. I don't mind that spot whatsoever. So that is what we're looking at here for this first game. Now let's go ahead and jump into the second game. Again, make sure to go check out Outlier. That link is in the pinned comment. You get 7 days free. But let's jump into the next game. All right, next game we're looking at is going to be the Thunder taking on the Pelicans. Pelicans at home here. They're getting 5 points, down 3 games in this series. The total's at 205, and this spread seems a little trappy to me, okay? But we might walk right into it because I still think the Thunder are just by far and away the better team, and that's not like groundbreaking, right? This is 8 seed versus 1 seed. But so far, that first game, number 1, sure, you could say it was a close game. It was a 2-point win for the Thunder, but the Pelicans could have been fired up for their playoff game, the first playoff game, not necessarily for them, but the first round playoff game. Then after that, it was Thunder all the way, 124-92. Then Thunder 106-85. Like, without Zion Williamson, I just can't really believe in this Pelicans team. So I am going to lean towards the Thunder minus the 5 points in this one. In terms of the total, I think the Pelicans come to play a little bit more offensive than they did last game, but even still, like they haven't not reached 100 points in this series. So I think I slightly lean towards the under because, again, this is a closeout game for OKC. Like, if they're up by 20, they're not going to be racing up and down the court. They're going to just slow down, kill clock, and everything like that to wipe their hands and move on and get some rest before their next series if this game goes according to plan. So I'll lean OKC as well as taking a slight peek at the under. In terms of a player prop, I only have one that I'm liking as of right now, and it's Chetty H here. Chetty Holmgren, over 25.5 points, rebounds, and assists. On the season, 55% of games, but head-to-head, he's done in 5 of his last 6, and just had a bad game, I guess, overall last game. Shot 25% from the field. I don't necessarily see that happening again. In this series, he's playing, about 30, we call it 31 minutes, right? We'll do the same minutes thing where it's very important to, look at how many minutes. When he plays 31 minutes, he's hit the over in 74% of games on the year. So these are playoffs, guys. Guys that start are going to play more and more minutes, and he's already had a good series against them so far. And 2 of the 3 he has cashed. So give me Chet Holmgren over 25.5 points, rebounds, and assists. If you don't have a combo, I don't mind his points. We can actually flash through these. Let me get rid of all of the filters and whatnot. I'll show you guys. So I don't mind his points, but looking at his head-to-head numbers, points, go to assists. I wouldn't go with assists alone. Rebounds or points would be potentially what I'm liking here. But if he can go out there and give you a 4-assist game, or like he's done recently, 2-3 assists, like that's why we're going with points, rebounds, and assists, because it seems kind of supplementary, right? In terms of, the PRA, that being included. But that's what we're rolling with for this game. Again, that's Thunder, the under, and Chet Holmgren. That doesn't rhyme. Chet Holmgren over 25.5 PRA. Let's move on to the final game of the night. And the Lakers avoided elimination in that last game. They did. Now they're back in Denver here right now. Denver 7-point favorites. Total at 217. But I'm kind of thinking that was all right, you avoided elimination. Like, that was the big moment. Now they just travel back to Denver and get beat. Now, 7 points is a lot to give, and I don't think that LeBron would necessarily give up or Anthony Davis would necessarily give up, but I've seen a lot of people on social media being like, if LeBron gets down, like, what's the point? If he knows he's not coming back from a 3-0 deficit, like, he probably would give up or something. I don't know. I just feel like he kind of would, like, look at what him and Anthony Davis both did in that last game, right? But did they blow their load in that last game? Potentially. Either way, I think 7 points is a hell of a lot to lay here, but there's a chance that I lay it. I do like my player props in this game more than anything, but I'm going to lean towards Denver minus the points as well as the under. I probably like the under more than the spread, but in terms of player props, we're looking at one guy, and we're looking at his 2 different stats for him, or I guess multiple stats. We're looking at Michael Porter Jr. over 29.5 points, rebounds, and assists. The thing that could keep this being from played is because we've been getting this at 25.5, right? We've been absolutely cashing it, and now it's at 29.5. Don't know if I love that, but I do still love his 3-pointers here. Now it's at 2.5, but there could be some same game parlay potential, saying he has 2.5 threes as well as his points line here, which his points, again, kind of juiced at 19.5, but I don't mind taking a peek at a same game parlay of him to make, 3 threes or 2+ threes, and then you play with the points to get it to a specific spot. So Michael Porter Jr., the same player in multiple ways that we could play today. Keep an eye on the pinned comment. That's where we'll kind of update you guys to make sure that you know what we're rolling with if we roll with something. But I think some sort of MPJ same game parlay could be a way of doing this, because when this goes to transition, which the Lakers like to run in transition, him and Aaron Gordon are 2 guys that definitely thrive in transition. Him being the guy this series that it's absolutely thriving more so. And then the second one, and this is not to say I'm fading the guy tonight, but 7.5 assists for Jamal Murray. Just a little bit too much to ask. You can see this is the head-to-head. He's hit the under in 11 of his 15. This series, he hit it 1 time going over, but 5 in the other ones. I just don't necessarily love the idea of him getting 8 assists. I think in a closeout game and a slow game, that if the Denver Nuggets kind of maintain possession and they can control the pace, I think this game runs through Jokic 100%, which Jokic is probably going to have a good assist game, but Murray might profit from or benefit from the scoring side of things, or even his 3-pointers made. I like that, even though he's yet to hit more than 1 3 in a game this series. I don't mind his, I'll show you here, it's over 2.5 for plus 110. I think this game completely runs through Jokic, and Murray has a decent scoring night, a nice 3 night, but not necessarily dishing the rock. So those are going to be the plays for today, guys. Again, those are all leans. Keep an eye on the pinned comment for all of our final plays. Make sure you go check out the baseball video as well. That is out as of right now. And yeah, if you enjoyed this, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well. We'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.